Earning a cat's trust is one of the most special things that can happen inside a home. Because a cat does not trust you just because you want it to. It does not give trust because of pressure, insistence, or because you bought the most beautiful cat bed in the store. A cat observes. It tests. It comes a little closer. Then it moves away. It studies your movements, your voice, your scent, your energy, and your routine. And only then, little by little, it begins to show small signs. Signs many people do not even notice. Maybe your cat lies near you but does not touch you. Maybe it turns its back to you while looking out the window. Maybe it allows you to touch its face. Maybe it enters the room where you are and simply stays there, in silence, as if that were no big deal. But for a cat, it can be. Feline trust is quiet. It usually does not arrive like a big emotional scene. It appears in the details, in the way your cat relaxes near you, in the way it does not get startled by your footsteps, in the way it allows you to become part of its space. And here is the most beautiful part. When a cat trusts you, it is not just enjoying your presence. It is saying that in its world, you are not a danger. You are predictable. You are familiar. You are safe. And for an animal so sensitive, so alert, and so careful with its own space, that means a lot. In this video, you are going to discover the things cats do when they truly trust someone. Some are sweet. Some are subtle. Some may seem strange at first, but all of them reveal something important about the bond your cat may be building with you. And stay until the end, because there is one sign of trust many owners confuse with indifference, when in reality, it can be one of the biggest signs of safety a cat can offer. Let's begin. When a cat trusts you, one of the first things that changes is the way it relaxes in your presence. At first, some cats are always alert. They watch from a distance, hide when someone moves too quickly, run away when they hear a strange noise, and dislike direct approaches. That is natural. For a cat, the world needs to be evaluated before it can be accepted. But when trust starts to grow, your cat's body changes. It lies down more calmly. It blinks more slowly. It breathes in a relaxed way. It may stretch its paws, roll onto its side, rest its head, and close its eyes even though it knows you are nearby. This may seem simple, but it is huge. Because a relaxed cat is saying it does not need to be ready to run away. It is not in defense mode. It is not calculating an escape route. It is not watching every movement you make as if it were a threat. It simply allows its body to rest. And sometimes, that is the biggest difference between a cat that merely tolerates someone and a cat that truly trusts. It no longer needs to protect itself from you. Another very strong sign is when your cat allows you to come close without immediately moving away. Cats are very sensitive to personal space. To them, approach is serious. A hand moving too fast, a body leaning in suddenly, or an unexpected touch can feel like an invasion. So when your cat lets you approach calmly, it shows that it has learned something important. Your presence respects its boundaries. Maybe it does not run into your lap. Maybe it does not ask for affection all the time. But if it stays where it is when you come closer, if it watches without tension, if it allows your hand to approach slowly, that is already trust. And the more you respect that space, the more it understands that it can trust you. With cats, trust grows when they realize they have a choice. When you do not force, when you wait, when you let the cat decide whether it wants affection, being held, or distance. Every time you respect a no, you make the next yes more likely. And that is one of the beautiful things about cats. They come closer when they do not feel forced to come closer. Your cat may also show trust when it turns its back to you. To us, that may seem like a lack of interest. You may think, it is not even looking at me. It probably does not care. But in the feline world, turning its back can mean something very different. An animal that does not trust usually wants to keep its eyes on whatever feels uncertain. It watches. It measures distance. It stays ready to react. But when a cat turns its back, sits near you, and looks somewhere else, it may be saying, "I do not need to watch you." That is trust. Your cat believes it can focus on something else without worrying about what you will do. It feels safe enough not to control every movement you make. So if your cat sits near you while looking out the window, with its back turned or its body slightly sideways, maybe it is not being indifferent. Maybe it is relaxed because it trusts you. Sometimes, the biggest compliment from a cat is not being worried about you. Another beautiful gesture happens when your cat shows vulnerable parts of its body. The belly is the most famous example, but it is not the only one. When a cat stretches, lies on its side, exposes its neck, relaxes its paws, or rests its head in an unprotected way, it is lowering its guard. This does not necessarily mean it wants to be touched in all those places. That detail is very important. A cat may show its belly because it trusts you, but still not want belly rubs. It may lie on its side because it is relaxed, but not be asking for a full petting session. It may expose its neck simply because it feels safe in that moment. Trust is not always an invitation to touch. Sometimes, it is just permission to be near that vulnerable state. And when you understand this, your relationship with your cat becomes deeper. Because you stop interpreting everything through a human perspective and begin respecting your cat's language. If your cat shows vulnerability and you respond calmly, without invading, it learns that it was right to trust you. And that strengthens the bond. Many cats also show trust when they look for you after being startled. Imagine something falls on the floor. Someone rings the doorbell. A visitor arrives, or a loud noise happens. Your cat gets scared, runs, hides, or becomes alert. So far, that is normal behavior. But afterward, where does it go? If, once it begins to calm down, it comes closer to you, goes to the room where you are, or chooses to stay near your scent, that can be a very powerful sign. It associates you with safety. You have become a reference point in the environment. Not just someone who feeds, plays, or gives affection, but someone who helps the world feel less scary. This is especially meaningful with sensitive, shy, or rescued cats. For these cats, trust can be a slow process. Sometimes it takes weeks, sometimes months, sometimes even longer. But when they begin to look for you in uncertain moments, it shows that something has changed inside. They are not just living with you, they are leaning on your presence. And that is a huge achievement. Another sign is when your cat accepts sleeping or resting in places where you walk nearby. A suspicious cat often chooses very protected hiding places, under the bed, behind furniture, on top of cabinets, places where no one can reach easily. But a confident cat may start resting in more open spaces, on the couch, on the rug, in the middle of the living room, on a chair near you, sometimes in a completely inconvenient place, like the hallway, exactly where everyone needs to pass. As funny as that may seem, there is a message there. Your cat feels safe in the shared territory. It does not think it needs to disappear every time someone moves. It does not feel like it has to hide in order to rest. It does not consider your presence a threat. Of course, every cat needs hiding places and quiet spots. That is healthy. But when your cat chooses to rest openly near the routine of the home, it can be a sign of trust in the environment and in you. It is almost like saying, "I can exist here without fear." And in a cat's world, that sentence carries a lot of weight. There is also trust in touch. Cats do not allow deep touch from just anyone. They may accept a quick pet from someone, but true trust appears when touch becomes calmer, more natural, and less tense. Your cat may allow you to touch its head, the side of its face, its chin, or its back. It may lean its body toward your hand. It may close its eyes while being petted. It may even shift position to make the contact easier. These small gestures show that your cat does not only tolerate the touch, it participates in it. But the most important thing is to notice the rhythm. Trust in touch does not happen when the human decides. It happens when the cat allows it. Some cats like short petting sessions. Others enjoy longer ones. Some prefer the head. Others like the chin. Some love backstrokes but do not tolerate belly or paw touching. When you learn your cat's comfort map, it notices. It notices that you know where to touch. It knows when you stop. It understands that you respect the moment when its tail starts moving or when its body becomes tense. And every time you stop before bothering it, you teach your cat something. My person understands my signals. That is trust built with intelligence. One of the most curious signs of trust is when your cat plays freely near you. Play requires safety. To fully enter play mode, chase a wand toy, jump, roll, miss a leap, or make those funny hunting poses, a cat needs to feel comfortable. Very insecure cats may play too, but they do it cautiously. They stop often, look around, get startled easily, or do not fully let go. When a cat trusts, it allows itself to look silly. And that is wonderful. It runs, jumps, hides behind furniture, attacks a toy as if facing a legendary creature, and then looks at you as if nothing happened. Play shows that your cat feels comfortable in the environment and with your presence. If it plays near you, brings toys, waits for your interaction, or gets excited when you pick up a wand toy, it is creating an active connection. You are not just someone standing in the environment. You are part of the fun. And for a cat, sharing play is an important form of bonding. Another behavior that shows trust is when your cat comes near you to rest after playing, eating, or exploring. That moment is very revealing. After an activity, your cat could go anywhere. It could hide, climb to a high spot, or move away. But if it chooses to recover near you, lie down in the same room, or stay close while grooming itself, that shows comfort. Cats often groom themselves when they feel safer. Grooming is a natural behavior, but it also happens in calm moments. If your cat sits near you and begins grooming peacefully, it may be showing that it is not worried. It is returning to balance. And your presence does not interrupt that process. On the contrary, it is part of it. This is a very subtle kind of trust. The cat does not need to run away to return to a calm state. It can relax near you. And that says a lot. There are also those moments when your cat lightly touches you. It is not always a dramatic cuddle. Sometimes, it is just the edge of its body touching your leg, a paw resting on your arm, the tail brushing past you, the side of its body leaning against you for a few seconds. These small touches may seem accidental, but many times they are not. Cats use physical contact selectively. When they touch, rub, or stay close enough to make contact, they are allowing a direct connection. It is a way of saying, "I accept your closeness." Some cats are more intense and throw themselves onto your lap. Others are minimalists. They touch you for 2 seconds and leave as if they have completed their affection quota for the day. But do not underestimate these small contacts. For some cats, a little paw resting on you can mean much more than a long hug would mean from another animal. Feline trust is not always exaggerated. Sometimes it is economical, elegant, and deeply sincere. Another very strong sign happens when your cat allows you to care for it. Brushing its fur, gently cleaning something, helping with a knot in the coat, checking a paw, or coming close during a care moment are situations that require trust. Of course, many cats do not like certain kinds of handling, even when they trust their owner. That is normal. But when your cat allows some level of care without panicking, without running away immediately, or without reacting with intense fear, there is a bond there. It may not love the process. Maybe it complains. Maybe it looks at you as if questioning your life choices. But if it allows it, even for a short time, it shows that it believes you will not hurt it. Care is one of the areas where trust appears in a practical way. That is why it is important to do everything calmly, without rushing, and while respecting limits. The gentler the experience, the easier it becomes for your cat to trust future moments. Cats remember. They remember when they were scared, but they also remember when they were respected. And that memory builds or breaks trust. A cat that trusts you may also begin to vocalize differently with you, not only meowing for food, but creating little sounds to call, answer, or interact. Some cats make trills, short sounds, soft meows, or specific vocalizations when you enter the room. This may show that your cat recognizes you as someone worth communicating with. Cats develop unique forms of interaction with their owners. Sometimes the sound your cat makes for you is different from the sound it makes for other people. Sometimes it creates a kind of daily conversation. You speak. It answers. You ask something it obviously does not understand as a human would, but it answers anyway. And for a few seconds, it feels like the two of you are having a perfectly serious conversation. This kind of communication is very special, because trust is also this: knowing the other will respond. Your cat calls because it expects some reaction from you. It believes you pay attention, that you understand, or at least try to understand. And even when the dialogue is simple, it strengthens the bond. But maybe one of the deepest signs of trust is when your cat can be itself around you. It does not need to hide all the time. It does not need to stay constantly alert. It does not need to run from every movement. It can play, sleep, groom, observe, ask for attention, refuse affection, appear, and disappear. It can exist naturally, and maybe that is the center of everything. Trust does not mean your cat will become completely clingy. It does not mean it will always accept being held. It does not mean it will like visitors, loud noises, or changes. It means that with you, it feels free to lower its guard, free to say yes, free to say no, free to come closer, free to move away, and still know the bond remains there. That is a beautiful kind of trust, because it is not based on control. It is based on respect. When a cat trusts you, it does not stop being a cat. It simply allows you to see more parts of who it is, and that is a privilege. Now you know that a cat's trust does not appear only in big gestures. It appears in small, quiet, and very meaningful details. It appears when your cat relaxes near you, when it allows your approach, when it turns its back without fear, when it looks for you after being startled, when it plays without worry, when it accepts your touch, when it rests in open spaces, when it communicates with you, when it simply chooses to be present. And maybe the most important thing to understand is that trust cannot be demanded from a cat. It has to be earned, with calm, with patience, with consistency, with respect for its space, with the ability to observe without invading, approach without pressuring, and love without controlling. Because cats notice much more than they seem to. They notice when you respect their timing. They notice when your voice feels safe. They notice when your hands are not threatening. They notice when you understand their body language. And little by little, they respond. Maybe with a calmer look. Maybe with a subtle approach. Maybe with a night sleeping in the same room. Maybe with a paw touching you for a few seconds. Small to us, huge to them. So after this video, observe your cat more closely. Do not look only for obvious signs of affection. Look for signs of trust. Notice where it relaxes, how it approaches, when it chooses to stay close, and which limits it expects you to respect. Because when a cat trusts you, it is offering something very valuable. Permission to be part of its world. And now tell me, what was the first sign that made you realize your cat trusted you? Write it in the comments, because maybe your cat's story can help other owners recognize these small signs too. And if you want to keep understanding the silent language of cats, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. That way, you won't miss the next videos about feline behavior, curiosities, and everything your cat tries to say without using words.